Okay, welcome. I'm Tiina Lahdentausta and I'm Accountor, and I have here
Riikka Sinkkonen, also from Accountor. Great experts and leaders actually have quite a lot in common. To be a leader, you don't need to have an official position or authority. Whether you are a programmer or a scrum master or project manager, you can act like a leader. Today we will tell you about certain leadership skills, communication, empowerment, motivation, for example. And we do this with the intention of encouraging you to practice these skills already in your expert role. And if you do this, you will not only become a better expert, but you will then be more prepared if you one day decide to move to a leadership path. And by that time, somebody probably has noticed you already. Let's start with communication, and particularly listening. Being a great listener is a great skill for both experts and leaders. Many of us love speaking. At least for me, when I'm excited about something, I just can't wait to share my own view about it. But it's also so that in our work, we often need to collect new information and new insights to make good decisions. And you tend to do that much better when you listen instead of speaking yourself. Listening is not, however, equal to being quiet or silent. Listening actively means that you ask good questions. If you are able to ask well-thought questions, it can really make a huge difference for a discussion or for a meeting. Apparently, as humans, we are at our best asking questions when we are 4 or 5 years old. So if you have a kid that age at home, you probably have noticed that he or she asks more questions in a day than what we adults tend to do in a month. And these kids learn a lot more than we do. True listening also calls for empathy and being present. Empathy is quite often listed when we talk about the qualities of great leaders. And it's really about the ability to step into somebody else's shoes and trying to see her point of view. And being present, this might seem obvious to many of you, but I think you have also joined several meetings where many of your colleagues have focused more on their emails rather than listening what their colleague is talking about. Studies have shown multitude of times that we really suck at multitasking. So make a decision for yourself to be present, and that way you are actually listening, and you are also showing the respect to your colleagues that it matters to you what they are saying. When we have listened well, there are often situations where we also need to deliver that message to others. And that requires that we get heard. And sometimes being listened to or getting heard, it can require a lot of persistency. When something goes wrong, you quite often hear somebody to say that, well, I tried to say so, but no one listened. For this person, I would encourage to think that, did you really try hard enough to get your important message through? Did you try several times? Did you try different ways of communication? Did you try to open up why this is important? It's not fun to be persistent. Sometimes you might feel like you're nagging, but it really, if the matter is important, it shows that you are committed, that everybody gets the right information, and that way we make better decisions and choices in the company. So I encourage you to adopt a mindset where you are the responsible for getting listened to when the message is important. Then about communication. Last night I actually asked ChatGPT about the most important qualities of leader, and communication was on top there. And if I would ask you to raise your hands that if you think you have too much communication in your current organization, I probably wouldn't see that many hands. You probably also recognize that what lack of information can cause. It can create extra work to you. It can make you feel that you are left out. John got to know this. Why didn't I hear it? And we all know those projects that failed due to poor communication. So if you like high performance and clarity, start communicating more and encourage others to do so as well. Couple of tips for being a communication champ. First of all, start assuming that people care to know, because they often do. So share what's going on and sometimes also what's not going on. Share the expectations clearly and explain your choices. Also, try to avoid being too vague in your communication, rather be concrete. So instead of saying that the project is advancing well, you could say that we finalized the requirements, made the first prototype, and signed the contract with our preferred partner. Next week, we will focus on architecture and user studies. With those couple of sentences, you have already provided much more information and better quality communication than by just saying that things are progressing well. And finally, try to find habits or structures to be a better communicator. So for example, if you are creating materials, make sure they are in a common place where everybody can access them and let people know it's there. Or if you participate to regular meetings, maybe you can think that after each meeting you share something from that meeting to a certain group of your stakeholders. Or put a reminder to your calendar that let me think that is there something this week that happened I need to communicate to somebody else. So you probably find your own preferred habit for it. Then be the one who finds solutions. It's a regular thing at work that we face different kind of issues and problems. Even organizations which don't have a problem at hand, they are constantly looking for opportunities to do things better. And for those situations, companies need people, experts, and leaders who can help to solve problems, remove obstacles, and identify those opportunities. Level 1 is to identify issues that need solving. And I'm guessing quite many of us are pretty good in that. But we also all recognize the colleague who quite often shows up with problems, but can never really propose solutions to the problems. So let's not stay on that level. On level 2, you are able to identify way forward, or even better, several ways forward. And level 3 is when you don't keep those ideas to yourself, but you rather share them to your colleagues so they can also see that there is really a way forward. If you get good at this, I'm guessing that you will be one of the favorite colleagues at your working place, and probably your own leader also looks at you thinking that this person is always part of the solution and brings different new opportunities on the table.
Then let's talk about motivation. We all know that motivation isn't something that can be given or forced. And still, probably most of us would like to work with motivating colleagues and motivating environment. So how can we reach that? Start with positive attitude and positive energy. Go to the workshops and meetings with positive energy and don't bring your negative energy there and drag people down. Acknowledge that there can be problems, but then move on to the solutions. When asking for help, try to tell what you need, by when you need it, and explain the bigger picture so that you give the purpose to the other person's task. After that, trust your colleagues that they are able to deliver what was asked from them. When you get help with your product, appreciate. Thank sincerely, praise publicly, and share positive feedback with the person's line manager and teammates. After your project is done, keep everyone still in the loop. Share the results. Make contributions matter and celebrate success together. And remember that motivation doesn't care about titles or given authority. You can also motivate your managers and your leaders. Empowerment. Empowering has become one of those words that can be thrown out when talking about people management, your personal growth, or your morning rituals. Shortly, it means having control over your life, and in this case, your work life. Celebrity CEO Monty Moran describes it like feeling confident in your ability and encouraged by your circumstances. That's a good goal. How can we get there? Build a culture of trust around you and around your team. By being interested, showing empathy, acknowledge that everyone has their own strengths and that you don't have all the answers. Ask for help and support. Never steal credit from others, but instead promote their ideas as their ideas and help them to reach the goals. Then celebrate again. When given an opportunity to teach others a task or a skill, stand by them until they learn, and then teach them to teach the same skill forward to others. By this, you share the responsibility. You won't be the only one who can teach. And you also elevate others around you to be confident in their abilities. Foster open communication and always be respectful, especially when giving feedback. Some 7 to 8 years back, I was invited to a meeting. I was working as a system specialist, and in the meeting there was our company CEO and CTO and a man from a partner company. I do not remember what was the topic of the meeting, what was the company or who was the man, but I do remember that not once did he look at me or talk to me. And then came one question about my area of expertise. I guess our CEO and CTO could have answered that too, but instead they decided to answer, I don't know. We have to ask Tiina about that. And I could tell that they did it just for me. And that's what I call encouraging circumstances. It felt really good, and I hope I can do the same to someone else one day. Finally, I want to remind that leaders aren't perfect human beings. Leaders are someone who choose to improve themselves and their teams around them. They are someone whose actions make them persons who others choose to follow. You cannot be a leader unless someone is following you. The topics and the actions that we have been talking today might seem like something that a good and normal person would do on a daily basis, probably. But in busy business environment and with deadlines, it takes a good practice to be able to do all these actions in a consistent manner. Becoming a good leader and being a good leader is sometimes hard work. Sometimes you fail, and that's okay. Be gentle on yourself. You'll try next morning again. The change won't happen overnight, and after all, leadership is a journey, not a destination. And the old truth, practice makes you perfect, fits here too. And I want to end with a quote. You can learn any skill you need, but attitude and gratitude are the foundation of happy and successful life. Thank you for listening.